even though right now you're a really successful entrepreneur, you invest in a bunch of companies, you have the gym launch. Before you entered that space, you were actually a management consultant, right?
Mhm.
What made you choose that career to begin with, and why did you leave when you did?
So there was only two businesses or two career paths that seemed appealing to me out of college. One was investment banking, and the other one was management consulting. And I saw being a management consultant as the more interesting of the two. In terms of monetary career paths, those were the two most lucrative that I knew of. Because the idea of entrepreneurship literally was not really a thought of mine. So this is just because I know you have a younger audience. Like I feel a lot of the online stuff that we see, the TikTok, the Instagram stuff that's out there is like very, you know, entrepreneurs are always entrepreneurs. They're born entrepreneurs. Like if you're not slinging lemonade stands, then you're not a legit entrepreneur. I had jobs through high school and I had a job in college and I got a job after college. Like I didn't really have any of that. I was a good student. I didn't fail at school. Like I worked hard and I got good grades. But it was actually just when once I started the management consulting career, the idea I thought was that I was going to get exposed to a lot of industries and businesses, and I would learn a lot about business and maybe eventually start my own business, just like everyone says. And I'd like to someday own my own business, right? That's just like kind of a thing that you say. And but I didn't realize it was going to happen as quickly as it did for me. And honestly, if I didn't have that job that I had at college, I don't know if I'd be an entrepreneur. Honestly,
Mm.
I honestly just really, really, it had nothing to do with the company or the people or anything like that. I just didn't like the work. I just was very miserable, and so I remember being so incredibly depressed that I was just like I was contemplating whether I wanted to keep living. And so
Wow.
it was for me, the biggest fear was the judgment of my peers and most specifically my family, right? If I were to quit this thing, because at that time I was the prodigal son, I mean, I did everything right. And so to leave that for, being a gym owner was not considered fairly, very prestigious
Mm.
from the path that I was on. And and I'll say this to everybody who's listening. That decision was the single hardest and scariest decision I have ever made in my entire life. There is nothing that entrepreneurship has ever shown me that has even come close to the difficulty of that decision. And so if right now you feel like that's really hard for you as somebody who's achieved what most people would consider material success, it is the hardest decision. So if it feels ridiculously hard, that's normal. And it feels that hard for everyone. And for me, the only reason I was able to make the call, because I'm actually a fairly risk averse person. The only reason I was able to make that call was because I was faced with just dying. And so I was like, well,
Mm.
if I don't want to be alive doing what I'm doing, then I might as well try something that I like doing, even if I don't make any money. And so that was what kind of started me in the gym path. But then obviously whatever business talent, desire, interest kicked on as soon as I got into the business world, I was like, oh, I actually like, so what ended up happening for me was that I've been obsessed with fitness for a decade. I had several state records. I was already in very good shape. People would ask me for advice. So I kind of had that already.
Mm.
But when I got into the business game, I actually fell not out of love with fitness, but I fell so in love with business that it my fitness desires paled in comparison. And I was pretty into fitness. But it didn't even come close. And so it was like that business became my first love. And we've been in love ever since.